Suno is in big trouble. Suno just got hacked. Certain lawyers are saying that this could be a devastating blow in their legal fight against multiple entities. Recall that they are still fighting several lawsuits, both against the major labels and the class action lawsuit. They're, of course, being accused of copyright infringement, of having infringed on the copyrights of hundreds of thousands of songs. And the information that was leaked from this hack reveals a lot about exactly how Suno has been stealing music. There's one point in particular that's really damning for Suno's case, because recall, Suno is claiming it's fair use. They can steal whatever song they want because they're not actually stealing the songs. They're just training on them in a legal and ethical way. We have a lot to talk about. I haven't made a video like this in a while, so we're going to cover a lot of topics, but let's just jump right into the Suno leak. So according to 404 Media, the hack reveals that Suno scraped YouTube, Deezer, and Genius, so songs from all three of those platforms. So it wasn't just that the hack leaked emails of paid users, etc. It included source material, so it included information on how Suno was programmed. So we got insight into exactly how it worked, because remember, Suno still hasn't revealed that information yet. Now, Top Music Attorney claims that as part of discovery, I believe I'm using legal terms, because she is heading the class action lawsuit, she's going to get access to Suno's training data. And so remember that Atlantic AI watchdog leak where everyone was like, this is proof that Suno trained on my music. That actually wasn't Suno's training data. Those were data sets for other AI companies. But Top Music Attorney is saying that she will have access to Suno's data set, so she could theoretically type in DJ Pain 1 into that search and find exactly which songs Suno used directly from me. Hey, before I get too far in this video, join the Patreon. All these beat reviews I'm making, if you're a member of the Discord via the Patreon, just like the $5 membership, I'm reviewing your beats for free anytime I'm live. We're collaborating on beats. I'm uploading beat collab opportunities. We're talking about music. We're reviewing each other's music. We're collaborating on other projects in the Discord. Shout out to all the new members: Cameron S, No Sleep Beats, AK Beats, Beats by Legendary, Hardcastle, Almighty Sonoxo, Keep It Simple, Tom Capo, Sean B, Jazz Tracks, Gray Guys, and you if you sign up. The link is below, patreon.com/DJPain1. Hope to see you there. According to Kate McGill, the numbers are literally in the code: 113,879 hours of YouTube music, 62,117 hours of Pond 5, 12,287 hours of Deezer, and around 1 million hours of podcasts. So this is decades of audio. And with the lawsuit via the labels, they are asking for $2,500 per song that was illegally trained. But here's some important context from attorney Ryan Schmidt.
Someone just hacked Suno and brought receipts. This leaked source code may expose exactly how the world's biggest AI music company was trained. According to 404 Media, the leaked source code references data sets of YouTube, Deezer, Genius, and millions of audio clips. And one file even references 2 million YouTube music clips. The code also suggests that Suno was using proxies to scrape YouTube via a company called Bright Data. And other lists show hundreds of thousands of hours of audio clips used for training. But does this really surprise anybody? Suno themselves have acknowledged in court filings that it's no secret that they've trained on millions of songs available online. But they believe that that was fair use. Now, interestingly, U.S. law and all these platforms have policies that prevent the illegal circumvention of copyright management tools, which Suno almost certainly had to do to be able to get this data in the first place.
So that's an important detail, right? So if the source code shows that Suno was ripping all of these songs off of these platforms that explicitly do not allow ripping, right? Because that's an extra step of intent at committing copyright infringement, then that's not going to bode well for Suno, is it? Very interesting development. I think this is something that everybody should know about, especially if your information was leaked via this hack. So it looks like user emails, phone numbers, and payment details via Stripe were also, I guess Suno accepts payments from users via Stripe. Suno claims no full credit card numbers or highly sensitive personal information were compromised. I just wonder if at some point certain user information is going to get exposed, because, you know, people love exposing everybody nowadays. That's just how the internet works. So expose, expose, expose. So are some of these producers and recording artists that are hiding that they're using Suno going to have their emails leaked and their Suno data leaked to show that they have in fact been using it for creating or co-creating their music? I don't know. Speaking of Ryan Schmidt, let's jump to an older video of his that I thought was dope. So these are standard splits according to a music lawyer. We have these conversations all the time in the music business, especially producers who are working with artists. And people like to weaponize standard splits. You know, someone will say, well, it's standard for a producer to get nothing, or it's standard for a producer to get, 0 master recording royalties. Whatever the case, they'll weaponize that against you. And if you don't know what actually is standard, well, then you're at a disadvantage. Now, the issue is that what's standard for some isn't standard for all, and what has been standard can always change, and also is standard the same as ethical, is standard the same as moral. So maybe we should change the word standard to typical or common. So let's just talk about typical splits when it comes to a producer and their business. So what he's saying here is when it comes to royalties, the major label is getting 80%. When it comes to working with an independent label or a distro company, it's more of a range, 30 to 60%. Signing a publishing admin deal, 15 to 20%. A co-publishing deal, 50%. Now that's ownership. Pub admin is not ownership. If you're working with a manager and they're getting you opportunities, standard is 15 to 20. We talk about this on the podcast a lot. Should that be higher? Agents, are similar, business manager, blah, blah. Lawyers, this is important for producers. I was just having a conversation, I'm not going to say his name, but bigger producer the other day talking about how lawyers are now asking for minimums. So instead of asking for 5%, they would say, well, it's 5%, but a minimum of $15,000 to work with them to execute a contract, which means if you're a producer who's getting $5,000 for an advance on a beat from a major label, then you can't even work with that lawyer. Kind of crazy, right? That's why I would say it's important to network with lawyers, people like Ryan Schmidt, because you never know when you're going to get a placement. I remember when I got my first placement, I did not have, because I hadn't networked with lawyers. I didn't have a lawyer, so I had to scramble. And so my friends introduced me to their lawyer, who was a big-time industry lawyer. He had too many connections with the major label that I was working with, so he did not fight for me to get even splits that were standard at the time. He pretty much just signed the contract as it came. And me, I didn't know any better because this was my first time. Nowadays, I would have specifically said, these are the deal points I want. This is what I want redlined on the contract. I want a point bump. I want there to be some type of post-sample clearance split in my favor. I don't want to lose all my equity. There are things that I would have asked him to fight for, given that he was a high-power attorney, right? And just didn't work out that way. So use this as just a guide. Obviously, I'm not encouraging you to do this all yourself. Get a lawyer if there's a contract in front of you, because this is just a reference point for the splits. It's not a reference point to help guide you through, a 5, 10, 20, 30 page agreement, especially not like pub admin or a record deal. This is an interesting video. Shout out to Project X. I want to hear what he has to say here.
Link up with the artists. Don't get too tied up into try to impress all these other producers and collaborate with all these other producers. Focus on the artists, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're producers and we're here to serve the artists. And we make beats for the artists to use, so it's good. We got to make sure that all these artists is using the beats, you know what I'm saying? It ain't about trying to get the loops to this producer, even though, it's nothing wrong with collaborating, but it's just like people put too much focus into trying to work with other producers when it's like you should be focused on the artist. Link up with the artist.
So he's saying a lot. I guess I think that there are a lot of producers out there, especially loop makers, sample makers, who are trying their hardest to link up with other producers, which, is tough. I try to do that too. And people contact me every day, loop makers, and a lot of them don't listen to me. They'll reach out and say, can I send loops? And I don't respond. And then all of a sudden I get an email from them with a bunch of loops. And it's just like, bro, I'm overwhelmed. I'm working on a loop kit right now. I'm working with, plugin designer. I'm inundated with loops. Everything is loops. I love working with the loop makers that I know, and I love making loops, and I love collaborating to make loops, but it's just a lot, and people just can't handle that. So you got to be respectful, but also not everyone can make beats. So on that point, I don't know if I'm disagreeing with him or what. I mostly agree with him. I think that not everybody can work on beats that sound great for artists. Some people are just amazing composers. I work with a lot of musicians who are great at creating musical ideas, but they can't finish a track, so they need someone to collaborate with. Of course, they could focus on learning how to finish a track. It depends, what are your priorities? This notion that producers are constantly trying to impress one another, that's true. It's kind of like, the local artist mentality when people are always like, yeah, I'm a local artist. I'm really focused on competing within my city. Producers kind of feel the same way sometimes, where it's like, I just want to impress my producer friends. If you're in a beat battle, by all means. But when you're making beats for beat battles, you are making beats with the intention of destroying your competition. So you are trying to impress producers in that context. When it comes to writing hits, how many producers listen to music on the radio, hit songs, and say, those beats are trash? Right, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares? There are songs that have gone gold, platinum, multi-platinum, diamond that producers listen to and say, that beat's trash. I'd never make a beat like that. There are beats that I've heard that are on the radio. I'm like, I probably would have deleted that beat, but it's a smash hit, because guess what? It doesn't matter what I think about your beat. If an artist likes it and if they write an amazing song to it that resonates with the fans. So in that regard, I would say absolutely stop trying to impress producers. Stop doing everything for the approval of the producer community. Everyone's going to have their opinions, and let's be honest, producers aren't always the best judges of a beat or a song's viability. We can't even judge our own beats. How many producers do you hear saying, wow, I can't believe that beat I made became my biggest song. I didn't even like that beat. I haven't made a video like this where I'm covering multiple topics in a while, so let me know what you think of this format, if I should bring it back more often. Appreciate you tuning in. Much success to you, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.